Russ Cook, the hardest geezer, the guy who made headlines running the entire length of Africa, is now running the entire length of New Zealand. But there are some very strange things going on, and unfortunately we need to talk about it. A little over a year ago, we were all in awe of Russ Cook as he completed his mammoth journey across Africa. It was a story that grew and grew over the year he was out there, with some slick videos, crazy stories of muggings and kidnapping, and over £1 million raised for charity. Whilst the project was by no means carried out on a shoestring budget, it felt raw, genuine and exciting. Russ came across as down-to-earth, fun, a bit nuts and filled with boundless enthusiasm and energy, despite sickness, injury, visa problems, the support vehicle breaking down, being robbed at gunpoint, and the small matter of also running approximately 50 kilometres every day. There's no denying it was a monumental moment, and for a short time he was a celebrated hero in the UK. You couldn't look at a newspaper, TV programme or social media channel without his cheeky face popping up. But even back then, the whole thing wasn't sitting very comfortably with a few people. Likely all envy, jealousy and sour grapes, of course. But the ultra running community is very small, and like any community, you have to earn the right to be accepted and respected.
You're just a jealous, lazy fuck.
Most people start with short races and then graduate to a marathon, then 50k and beyond. You can see a progression and you can follow their journey. Russ, however, just ran the Brighton Marathon once. The thing is, I can't check exactly what he's done because he doesn't even have a profile on Power of 10 or Run Britain rankings. He's not even listed on the DUV Ultramarathon stats website, and do you know why? Because he's never actually run an official ultra. Furthermore, I don't even think he's done a parkrun, and I've never seen him volunteering at any events. However, he is of course an ultra runner, and prior to the Africa project he'd already completed a 2,000-mile run from Istanbul to London. And he has since jogged around the London Marathon. And he doesn't have to do any official races or embrace the wider ultra running community to be an ultra runner. Of course, he can do exactly what he likes. I mean, you know, £1 million for charity and all that.
Can't touch me. Can't touch me.
I think what has irritated many is that here's a guy who was never part of the UK ultra running community, and yet here he is now front and centre, supposedly representing this community on the world stage. And by the way, that Africa project was advertised as a world first, whereas just a little bit of research by the team would have quickly informed them that it had been done before more than once, just on a different route. You can check out my video on that just here. Fast forward a year and Russ is back out there again, running every day on his latest adventure to cross the length of New Zealand. Now, New Zealand is a lot less scary than Africa. He's not going to get mugged or kidnapped. What he has got is a massive sponsorship behind him. This is no hand-to-mouth venture. It's not even a charity project. It's more of a publicity stunt for New Zealand tourism, who are the big main sponsors of the project. The run also seems to be a lot more controlled and understated from a social media perspective. If you wanted to go and find Russ and run with him for a few hours, there's no way you'd be able to find out where he is in real time. He's certainly not wearing a tracker, and his Strava updates are always delayed and missing critical information like a map. This has caused increasing speculation online that something is not right. Now, let's just get this out the way first. As far as I can see, and I followed Russ on his Africa journey, the Africa run was completely legit. He would upload pretty much every day when he ran on Strava, and those Strava updates included all the things that you need to show when you're doing an event like that. However, the data coming out of New Zealand is very odd indeed. You see, if you're going to claim world records or FKTs, world firsts, or even that you've done something remarkable, People are going to want proof, and the way to provide that proof is to be completely transparent.
I'm looking through you. Where did you go?
You provide a full GPS file from your watch as quickly as reasonably possible after you've pressed save. That file includes everything: a map of where you ran, the distance you ran and the time it took you to do that run, cadence data, heart rate data and stride length data. Many of the modern watches and the one that Russ is using also include extra data like running power, vertical oscillation and ground contact time. That's what Russ should be providing every single day without fail if he wants his run to be taken seriously, and if he wants to avoid any confusion or speculation about the veracity of his claims. And yet, until a couple of days ago, Russ's team hadn't posted any Strava updates at all for nearly 2 weeks. It took an article by Marathon Handbook, the article which prompted this video, to stir Russ into uploading some Strava updates. The problem was, what he uploaded was really weird. He's using a Garmin Enduro 2 watch, a high-end multi-sport GPS watch with massive battery life and all the features any ultra runner could possibly want. And yet his Strava updates don't include any heart rate, any map, any cadence data, let alone any of the other slightly less important metrics. All we have is distance, time and kilometre splits. He claims not to be a watch nerd and just presses start, but that's really hard to believe. He knows exactly how to use his watch, and if he doesn't, at this level, he really needs to learn.
Oh, Papa Homer, you are so learned.
Learned, son. It's pronounced learned.
Some people have pointed out some rather odd inconsistencies with his data too. One commenter suggests that on one run it looks like his stride length is over 6 feet per step. Others pointed out that his heart rate doesn't align with the elevation, and someone else suggests that one trace looks like Russ got on a bike in the middle of his run. What's more baffling is that when faced with these questions, Russ and his team haven't tried to help and gone out of their way to provide more clarity and explain the situation. What they've done is what you do when you're trying to cover something up. They've become defensive, started blocking people on social media and gone to ground, entirely the opposite of what they really need to do in this scenario. Anyone remember Rob Young from a few years ago? Rob became very well known when seemingly out of nowhere he started running a marathon every single day. Now there's no doubt Rob was a decent runner. I ran a few races with him myself. I chatted to him on a number of occasions. He was a quiet, unassuming guy, and when I knew him, he just got on with his race, enjoyed the run, chatted to people and finished without a fanfare. But as time went on, Rob became more and more well known and sponsors got on board, and all of a sudden Rob was organising ever more elaborate and crazy adventures, and this culminated in his infamous run across America. One day, a guy called Asher Delmott drove up behind the support vehicle in the hope of seeing Rob running, but found no one. This led to intense speculation and scrutiny of Rob's run, leading to Lazarus Lake of all people travelling out to observe Rob running. Ultimately, his sponsor at the time, Skins, carried out an investigation into odd cadence data which showed some of his runs had a cadence of less than 20 steps per minute, indicating that he'd been riding in the support vehicle for large parts of the time that he claimed to be running. Whilst there's no doubt that many of Rob's adventures were legit and he was a decent runner, the pressure of trying to come up with ever crazier projects to keep a media buzz going, to not let sponsors down and to keep your profile up led to Rob and his team making some poor decisions. They too left out important metrics from the Strava data. They too became defensive when questioned about it. The similarities between what happened with Rob Young and what is currently happening with Russ Cook are clear to see. It may of course all be a complete misunderstanding, and I genuinely hope that Russ Cook has run every single step of his New Zealand trip. The lack of transparency, however, makes it hard to know for sure. What I hope hasn't happened is that he's crumbled under the weight of pressure from the media spotlight and the cash cow that is brand alignment. If he's injured, and he has said that he's struggled recently with niggles, then he needs to stop. What he mustn't do is fake it at the risk of letting down his fans, or more importantly, God forbid, his sponsor.
Would you ever consider
Cheers, John.
Barkley marathons?
Barkley marathons. Yeah, I actually think that will happen one day.
What do you think? Is it all a complete misunderstanding, or is there something Russ and his team aren't telling us? Let me know in the comments. Thank you very much for watching all the way to the end. Please subscribe if you haven't done so already, and then go and watch my previous video about Russ Cook here, and I'll see you guys on the start line next time.